The Bride's Curse. Let me tell you the story of Nkem and Obinna, a tale that still sends shivers down my spine. It happened in our small village of Oduka, a place surrounded by lush forests and rivers that sang as they flowed. The elders always said, "In Oduka, blessings and curses walk the same path." I didn't understand it fully until Nkem's story unfolded before our eyes. Nkem was a beautiful young woman from a humble family. Her father was a palm wine tapper, and her mother wove mats and baskets to sell in the market. Despite their modest life, Nkem stood out. She wasn't just beautiful, she was kind, hardworking, and respectful, qualities that made her the pride of her family. One day, a wealthy trader named Obinna visited Oduka. Obinna was from a neighboring village, Umueze, but his name was well known across the land. He owned several shops and had workers carrying goods for him from one market to another. His compound in Umueze was said to be as grand as the chief's palace, with high fences, shiny roofs, and cows roaming the yard. When Obinna saw Nkem at the market, where she was helping her mother sell baskets, he was captivated. The next day, he came to her family's compound with gifts: bags of rice, crates of drinks, and cloth so fine it shimmered in the sun. He said he wanted Nkem as his wife. Her parents were overjoyed, a wealthy man marrying their daughter. It was a dream come true, but Nkem seemed hesitant. "I don't know him," she whispered to her mother. "How can I marry someone I barely know?" Her mother brushed off her concerns. "Nkem, wealth doesn't knock on every door. This is your chance to live a better life. Besides, Obinna looks like a good man." So, with a heavy heart, Nkem agreed. The wedding was grand. The entire village gathered to celebrate. Women danced and sang while men drank palm wine and cracked cola nuts in Obinna's honor. Nkem smiled throughout the ceremony, but I could see her unease. The warning signs. Life in Obinna's house wasn't what Nkem had expected. Yes, there was wealth, rooms filled with fine furniture, endless supplies of food, and workers who took care of everything. But there was also something dark, something she couldn't quite put her finger on. Every morning, Obinna would disappear into a small locked hut at the edge of their compound. He forbade Nkem from ever going near it. "That's where I handle my business affairs," he would say, with a tone that ended all discussions. One day, Nkem's curiosity got the better of her. While Obinna was away, she crept toward the hut. The door was locked, but she peered through a crack. Inside, she saw strange objects: clay pots with markings, tied bundles of feathers, and a wooden effigy with a cloth wrapped around its neck. She felt a chill run down her spine. When she asked Obinna about it that evening, his reaction was swift and terrifying. His face darkened and his voice thundered. "I told you to stay away from that hut," he roared. "Don't you ever disobey me again." From that day, Nkem knew something was wrong. She began noticing other things too. Obinna would never let her touch certain items in the house. He refused to let her visit her family, saying, "You belong here now." And worst of all, he would leave late at night, returning just before dawn, his hands smelling of herbs and smoke. The revelation one fateful night. Nkem couldn't sleep. She heard voices outside their bedroom window, soft whispers that didn't sound human. Gathering her courage, she crept to the window and peeked out. What she saw made her blood run cold. Obinna was standing in the moonlight, surrounded by a group of men in black robes. In front of them was a large clay pot, filled with a bubbling liquid. Obinna chanted words she didn't understand, and one of the men handed him a small object wrapped in cloth. He dipped it into the pot and muttered, "May my wealth never fail." Nkem realized then that her husband's wealth wasn't the result of hard work. It was tied to dark charms and rituals. The thought made her stomach turn. She knew she couldn't stay silent any longer. The escape. The next morning, Nkem confronted Obinna. "I know what you're doing," she said, her voice shaking but firm. "You're using charms to gain wealth while others suffer. I want no part of it." Obinna laughed, but it wasn't a laugh of amusement. It was cold and cruel. "You're my wife," he said. "You'll do as I say. If you try to leave, you'll regret it." But Nkem had made up her mind. That night, while Obinna was out, she packed a small bag and fled. She ran through the forest, her heart pounding with fear. When she reached her parents' house, she collapsed in their arms, sobbing as she told them everything. Her father, a devout man, was furious. "This is why wealth gained without honesty brings curses," he exclaimed. He gathered the elders and together they went to the chief of Umueze to expose Obinna's deeds. The downfall word spread quickly, and Obinna's reputation was ruined. Villagers who had once envied him turned their backs on him. His workers abandoned him, and his shops closed one by one. But the worst was yet to come. The charms he had relied on began to backfire. His livestock died mysteriously, his crops withered, and his once thriving compound fell into disrepair. Obinna himself became a shadow of the man he once was, plagued by nightmares and strange illnesses. The lesson is for Nkem. She stayed in Oduka with her family, vowing never to be tempted by wealth again. She found peace in her simple life and became a storyteller, sharing her experience with anyone who would listen. To this day, people in Oduka say, "The pride of stolen blessings is like a house built on sand. It will collapse." And when we sit around the fire at night, someone always tells Nkem's story. It's a reminder that honesty, faith, and humility are worth more than all the riches in the world.